Hello, today we're going to be playing a Simulacrum Synthesizer deck taken to the extreme thanks to a new card in United Battlefront. This 4-mana sorcery says look at the top 7 cards of your library, put up to 2 non-creature, non-land permanent cards with mana value 3 or less from among them onto the battlefield, put the rest onto the bottom of your library in a random order. So United Battlefront allows us to very easily put a Simulacrum Synthesizer onto the battlefield, thanks to the fact that we get to look at the top 7, and then of course we can pick out other permanents that suit the situation, suit our needs. Now, how are we making this deck work if we're not getting to play a lot of non-permanent cards? Well, we are playing only 3 steps ahead, and the United Battlefront as our instant and sorceries, and then we only have 2 enchantments in Temporary Lockdown as our kind of sweeper of choice that we can find with United Battlefront, and then Founding of the Third Path. This card is nice because you can go ahead and recast United Battlefront, and well, let's say United Battlefront is a really powerful card, and so the more times you can cast it, I think it's worth playing Founding of the Third Path just so that you can cast United Battlefront more times. We will find out though in our games here. Besides that, in terms of removal, we have some instant speed in Spring-Loaded Sawblades. A Perilous Snare can grab any non-land permanent, and then Assimilation Aegis can deal with creatures on the battlefield as well as trigger our Simulacrum Synthesizer. We are playing 2 copies of Repurposing Bay. This way we can transform our Sawblades and our clay-fired bricks into more synthesizers and get even more of the construct tokens, as well as we are playing 1 4-drop artifact just so that we have a little bit more in our Repurposing Bay options, and we're playing Aetherspark just because I thought it'd be fun if we are making these really large constructs to try and swing in and get a bunch of loyalty on the Aetherspark. We have 2 Fomori Vaults, and that is the deck. Let's hop into the games and see how we can do. All right, don't forget to words are hard. I was gonna say don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more arena content to not miss out on future videos. All right, opponent goes first. We really don't have 3 lands, which makes me kind of uncomfortable, and we don't have our kind of awesome card, and there we go, we got it. I don't think we need multiple Founding of the Third Path, considering they don't really do that much in our deck. Besides chapter 3, we can mill our opponent, which can be kind of fun, but that's not really what we're here for. Opponent duressing away the United Battlefront probably, but we can cast it again with the Founding of the Third Path from our graveyard. So I guess that is another upside, is that allows us to recycle it if our opponent gets rid of it. Dodging duress, sort of. Not okay. Wow, I would have never expected that. Opponent goes for the Temporary Lockdown. So Deep Cavern Bat. That makes a bit more sense. And there they go. We will go ahead and hold off on playing anything so we can Sawblades the bat maybe. See if they attack in. You fell for the trap. And the United Battlefront is back into our hands, thankfully. Liliana, a little annoying, but I think we will be okay. We'll get rid of the Founding of the Third Path because we don't need it if we're going to cast the United Battlefront from our hand. We'll exchange the clay-fired bricks for our planes, and no duress. Please, no duress, opponent. You can make us discard lands, and I will be fine, but I just want 1 turn with my United Battlefront here. Alright, Annex is concerning, but we might be able to get rid of it here very shortly. Temporary Lockdown would get rid of our permanents here, which is a little bit of interesting interaction in this deck, but I mean, I'll take both. The Aegis is not really going to do much, but scrying to the Fomori Vault is interesting because we can draw this card to find more action, but I think we just want to find it more organically. We have a 5/5, so this Liliana is in danger. Can we craft either of these? That's 4 mana to craft, this 7 mana to craft, so we can craft with the Spring-Loaded Sawblades. I could also just temporarily lock down away their giant creature. Is there any artifacts in our graveyard? No, not really. Well, does this give us another enter the battlefield trigger? Something I would like to know. Because craft it, it comes back. No, it does not. Well, we did something with our mana, but that did not feel like the right move. That is one clunky part about playing all permanents, is that there's kind of small issues with our removal here, in the sense that we need to find the right card to get rid of this 6/6. Otherwise, we're going to get nuked. Opponent looking at the Chariot. I don't think they would have any removal for it. Another Ritual Chamber. Okay, I really regret getting rid of that temporary lockdown, because I would have happily gotten rid of it. Or gotten rid of both of these 6/6s for an exchange. Alright, United Battlefront, please give me a temporary lockdown. Something. Alright. Sawblades is not going to be enough, but another synthesizer. Quite a few different triggers here. Get rid of the Annex, maybe? Get rid of the 6/6, which I kind of needed to do, because now I'm just going to die. Gosh darn it, why am I so dumb? I can't. How do I screw these things up? Well, we die. We do a lot of dying right about now. Well, that is probably gonna do it. What? Opponent. Could have just blocked. Well, I believe they have 2 creatures with 6 power in the air, and we cannot block those, so we will be taking 12 damage. And a nice deck will not stop you from punting. You know what will potentially help you from punting is the sponsor of today's video, which is the Sorcerer's Field Guide from Ivory Tower Games. It is a guide to Magic the Gathering designed to help players understand Magic from the ground up, everything from how to play, deck building, to mastering different strategies. If you're new to Magic, this book will walk you through the fundamentals, explain key mechanics in a way that actually makes sense, and help you to avoid common beginner mistakes, like failing to count, I guess. If you're tired of always asking that one guy about the rules, or if you're getting a friend or family member into Magic, make your game nights go smoother and check out the Sorcerer's Field Guide using my link below, which helps to support the channel. Thanks, and let's hop into the games. Okay, well, this is a spooky hand. Do nothing for turn till turn 3. We do go first, which is at least a little bit reassuring, and we have double synthesizer, but you know what? Live life on the edge. We can make this work. Well, that's a good sign that the opponent is not mono red, so we won't die like turn 3, but the rest is a bit problematic, because we could remove our snare, which will make removing other things a little bit harder. Alright, we drew a blue source. Lucky me. We can grab the synthesizer. We'll go for the bay, not the lockdown. And hope that I'm getting a little bit worried that our opponent is just going to demon combo mill us, because I think that might be what the opponent's playing, but who knows. So we need to move a little faster, maybe. 3/3. That is some damage on the board. And play the Aegis and grab another synthesizer with it. Double Restless Reef, though, does make me think that they're trying to play the... What is that 6 black pip demon called again? They paid 2 mana. And we'll go ahead and play the Assimilation Aegis. And we now have a 4/4, but 4/4 is probably going to die or get bounced or something else here. What is that demon called? I'm not going to try and find out. Interesting. We're playing the new Omen Dragon. Alright, another land is actually quite helpful here because then we can waste all of our removal pieces on making this golem as massive as humanly possible. And oh wait, I forgot about the Aetherspark. I would like to attach it to this, and let's go up 8 loyalty. Alright, we're doing the thing. That's a lot of loyalty. I've never played with the Aetherspark before, but 13 loyalty is not bad. And we now have an 8/8, a 7/7, and a 7/7. So, opponent needs a sweeper. It's Doomsday Excruciator is the demon that I'm thinking of. When it enters, if it was cast, each player exiles all but the bottom 6 cards of their library face down. Alas, they get rid of the synthesizers. Okay, well, that does make things a little awkward, but we make things work out. Well, I don't have multiple copy draw. I'll just draw some cards with the Aetherspark here. Okay, that is good. I can play that. Is that enough? Still enough mana to... Can I counterspell and draw? Or counterspell and copy? I would need 6 mana. We only have 5. No, we have 6. Alright, counting again proves to be not my strongest of abilities here, but if they have a Cavern of Souls, we do just... Well, we have problems if they have a Cavern of Souls, but they will not have Cavern of Souls, hopefully. Stock up could be setting up for a Cavern of Souls, which would be a little bit scary. They do have the option to counter our spell. I'll just play out the Spring-Loaded Sawblades, and then... Oh, I can only activate this as a sorcery? I want to not be here anymore. That was awkward. Now they can counterspell this, but they would have been able to anyways. Alright, United Battlefront is handy here. That is pretty big. Perilous Snare and... I don't know, play Fired Bricks, more lands. Make a golem. That is a big golem. I'm surprised their Repurposing Bay is limited to only sorcery speed. But maybe I shouldn't be surprised. I'm gonna draw 2 more cards. Oh. We just need the opponent not to completely demon combo on us, but... Yeah, I do not want to target my own creature, thank you. Assimilation Aegis, I will not exile my own creature. And, River Region can bounce 2 non-land permanents to their owner's hands. And, oh. Oh yeah, I do need a blue source. Play Repurposing Bay to trigger our synthesizers, and then should be able to grab a Perilous Snare or something similar with one of these Repurposing Bays by sacrificing our clay-fired bricks, maybe. Have to do it on our turn, but we can get rid of the River Regent. Grab a Assimilation Aegis, I guess. I guess actually it doesn't matter. That is 2 dragons down. And then I guess I could activate the other Repurposing Bay. Let's just hope the opponent doesn't have another sweeper. Actually, is this sufficient threat? Do we think... Do I activate it again? I think I need to hold off in terms of moving forward here. I will just activate the Aetherspark onto something. And hold on for now. So if they have a bounce spell for the Assimilation Aegis, they get back the ETB trigger and bounce more things, which is not good. Jace does mean that we are gonna get milled pretty hard, but
focus on the facts.
okay, maybe not. There goes our counter spell. Now if they have the Doomsday Excruciator, that could be a little spooky, but I think we'd win through it because they would be tapped out and we could just get rid of it. Another Jace. We have 30 cards in deck. They have 2 mana open. Don't know where this is going. We go down to 16 cards in deck, so we are dead to 1 more Jace. But they exhale their last breath and we get to win. GG. Alright, opponent goes first. This hand looks pretty good. We have good mana, we have removal, sweeper, and a synthesizer. Soldier. Okay. Is this a mono white or Azorius soldiers deck? I haven't seen soldiers in a while, but Carbon used to give me nightmares, so I would not be surprised if this was a... Nope. Okay, so Boros Mobilize. We can't cast spells on their turn because the Voice of Victory. So we will cast our Spring-Loaded Sawblades now, and they will hit the Warden of the Inner Sky. And we'll take 3 damage because it says Mobilize 2, and we'll make 2 1/1 attacking Red Warrior creature tokens. On human, it is quite the aggressive deck from our opponent here, which hurts quite dearly, but play the synthesizer and just hold on. I don't think we'll die quite yet. Clay-fired bricks can allow us to gain some life and then can work well with the bay, but I don't think I want to. I don't know. I think we might be getting aggroed out. Our deck has a bit of a weak 1-2 because we're playing so many, or we're indexing super hard into artifacts here. We get Gleeful Demolition, which makes me cry. Alright, well, Novice Inspector won't do much, thankfully, but they will maintain their Immodane's Recruiter through our temporary lockdown, unfortunately. We're still on a clock. The bricks plus the day does mean that we get to gain a bit of life, and we can find another... Do not get baited into playing the Seachrome Coast, because we need the mana Go ahead and play this land and grab the bay here. And we can use Repurposing Bay to upgrade our clay-fired bricks into a Simulacrum Synthesizer, but it might be too late. I was really counting on that synthesizer sticking, but unfortunately that was not the case. I will go ahead and make that upgrade to a synthesizer, and Perilous Snare seems nice. We can get rid of small creatures again with the temporary lockdown. We are flirting with death at the moment, but right now, holding on. It's a 2-2 looking at us, but if they have another Immodane's Recruiter, we do just heal over at the moment. Alright, we're holding on. We have 3 steps ahead, which is pretty huge. We can counterspell and make a copy, I believe, because we have 6 mana. So I think that is what we will do. We can make a copy of the Simulacrum Synthesizer, unless they cast a... Well, if they had one of these Voice of Victories, that would be a problem. We'll go ahead and end our turn. If the opponent tries to get rid of one of our lockdowns, we can respond accordingly. Frontline Rush. Alright, this seems like it's worthwhile enough to counterspell, and we will make a copy of our synthesizer, and that will give us a giant construct, and from here on out we will be printing constructs. Repurposing Bay is not too bad. The Sawblades is alright, and no removal, no whammies, no removal. Can we get there? No Immodanes. Yeah, we got a Night Errant of Eos. Okay, we are still alive for now. Alright, we can Perilous Snare. We can make another copy of the Simulacrum Synthesizer and counter another spell. I think that's what might be what I do, because then our Perilous Snare just completely takes over the game by triggering all 3 synthesizers, and we'll have so many constructs. Just need our 3 steps ahead to resolve in making a copy. So Novice Inspector, that is fine. Doesn't have haste, doesn't matter. Novice Inspector, whatever. Two mana open, one of them being red, so they could have a Lethal Demolition, or they could have a front, well, no, they couldn't have a Frontline Rush. A Voice of Victory, that is what I will choose to counterspell. And copy up our Simulacrum Synthesizer, and it is robot printing time, everybody. It is time to print some robots. I don't think we need a second Repurposing Bay where we are right now. I'll take a land. That will give us enough mana to both play, well, play everything basically. Play a Perilous Snare. And I think I'll get rid of a clue token actually. And this doesn't really do anything, but looks cool, and then looks even cooler when I do this. And the robots are here. Assimilation Aegis, doesn't really matter. Grab a Perilous Snare to get rid of the other clue, I guess. Makes the most amount of sense. And that is just a few 15/15s. Alright, that is what we are talking about. The robots have been printed. It is over. Alright, well, in the first game, I showed that I can be a bit of a robot. The second game, I showed how this deck is really good at making robots. This hand, it looks alright. I think we need to hit another white source, but it's hard to turn down United Battlefront in the opener, as well as like temporary lockdown can hopefully shore up the aggressive decks, but not a great place to be against mono red here. Alright, another white source is helpful, but again, the curve of this deck is kind of skewed maybe a bit too much towards 3. So hopefully the opponent chooses not to play any pump spells, but appears they did happen to put them in their deck. So no. Okay, well, here was to hoping that we would evade getting absolutely nuked on by the prowess creatures, but down to 4 we go, and I think that might just put us out of the game before we were in it. And we recover. Probably not, but this is really the turn that matters most. The lightning strike plus shock, or burst lightning rather, probably ends it. And yeah, well, the plus side is we print a lot of big robots. The downside is our deck does not do much turn 1, turn 2. Well, if we don't draw. We might need to put a few more cheap interactive artifacts in this deck. We have the Spring-Loaded Sawblades because it is very much a good card, but I think they decrease in quality from there out, but we will find out if we can cinch one more game here. One has the Ugin avatar, so I wonder if they're playing the new Ugin. Perilous Snare, quite a annoying card to run into in my experience. I've had many of my cards snared. My turn to snare the opponent's creatures. This card we don't want it to stick around because it says your opponents can't cast spells during your turn, and I like casting spells. Whoa, opponent. We are the synthesizer deck. Do I run out the United Battlefront and gamble on hitting what we want? Okay. Or do we get rid of their synthesizer? Oh my goodness, this is gonna get real ugly real fast, I think. We'll run out the United Battlefront. We hit a synthesizer. A lot of Sawblades. I kind of want more land, so I might grab the clay-fired brick on top of that. Get the clay-fired bricks to resolve first, so that we get the scry afterward. Just temporary lockdown seems like it will be relevant in this matchup because of the fact that we're both going to be making construct tokens that have the mana value of 0, so we can sweep the board with it. So if the game goes south, we can use that. Perilous Snare is probably going to grab our synthesizer, I would assume. But now, where was I going to go this? When we heal back our synthesizer and Perilous Snare their synthesizer. Yeah, I don't need this many temporary lockdowns. What I'm trying to say is, I think we're going to get more value from when that synthesizer enters and from us snaring their snare. If that makes sense. Forge and Caretaker's Talent, a little obnoxious. It was a cool combination of cards though from our opponent here. I will admit that, as much as it makes me jealous. Jealous of all the cool things they're doing, but it is going to be our turn to make some robots, I think. And that is what we will do. Yeah, I don't think there's any reason to run out of temporary lockdown, so we will go ahead and get a snare going. Take back our synthesizer, and then the synthesizer will enter to trigger our synthesizer again, and we will get also the scry trigger as well. So that seemed alright for us. And then we have another snare. So the snaring of snares might result in some very wacky lines of play. That is what I'm worried about, but alright, another synthesizer. Our golems are still bigger. We don't mind, but this Caretaker's Talent is kind of obnoxious. Would have been a bit nice to get a land here, but at the same time, I don't think we mind. Because we'll be able to take away something with our snare. I could also Aetherspark here and get 2 more golems. Do we want their synthesizers to stop? I think we will. We'll do this first. We could get rid of the talent. That is drawing them cards. Yeah, we'll get rid of the talent. Seems almost the most sensible here. And they can't even kill one of our golems. So it looks like the opponent might have a sweeper here. Because they traded down both their golems, so I'd be a little bit concerned what they're going to do with the 4 11-11s, but because I would have probably double blocked and used a burn spell to get rid of one. That's assuming they had a burn spell or interaction, but who knows what they have. Voice of Victory. Right. Assimilation Aegis. That is pretty good. So I think I'm going to go with Aetherspark here to put a few loyalty counters on it and rack them up. I would like just about every little bit of mana that you might potentially have. Or cards, I guess, technically. The fun of Aetherspark. Down to 6. And they keep blocking. And up to 20. Oh my goodness, that is too funny. Alright. That is a lot of golems here still, and we can make some more golems with the Aegis, and we have a ton of mana, or we can start drawing some cards with our Aetherspark. So, GG. Alright, I think I'm going to end the video there. Hopefully you enjoyed this deck. It is ultimately a Simulacrum Synthesizer deck, so if that is something that is up your alley, I think this is the new innovation in terms of playing some United Battlefront to grab your synthesizers, your Perilous Snares, your Assimilation Aegis, your Repurposing Bays, your temporary lockdowns, all that good stuff. But yeah, let me know what you think of the deck. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing, it helps out a lot. And consider checking out the video from yesterday where we played Rakdos Sacrifice using the new Quarry Steelcutter card. I think it's an interesting way to play the Quarry Steelcutter, and it turned out pretty well. So yeah, that video should be on the screen right about now. And have a nice morning, evening, night, afternoon, wherever and whenever you're watching. Take care of yourself.